What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today, we're talking about SoFi. We're about 10 minutes away from the close of the day, which is going to be a long weekend. Happy holidays in advance in case you guys are watching it at this stage. So I want to go over some of the current data points, some of the latest updates associated to SoFi, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So SoFi so far is up 0.31%, about 10 minutes left in the trading day. A lot of volatility, so 988 the high, 959 is the low. So there was more of a market sell-off here, so it participated in that. But 26.07 million shares have been traded, 44 is the average. So big money isn't necessarily buying SoFi today. So you see one big one right here, so 1.93 million. Aside from that though, just big money has been taking a step back, and most likely that is associated with the holidays. I could be wrong. There has been no actual news from SoFi today. There was a Form 4 that was just submitted right here yesterday after hours, but that was more so just one of the 144s that recently came out about Jeremy selling. So it was transaction code S, as you can kind of see right here. So that does mean a straight up sell. So not for taxes, nothing like that. You can kind of see it was part of the plan, so it was scheduled, but still not necessarily a good look for SoFi, bigger picture. But then again, I could be wrong. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I want to go over what shorts are doing, options activity. Oddly enough, there was a analyst rating that did come out today, or I guess yesterday after hours, and it was from Andrew, who does have a 67% success rate, so very highly, I guess, distinguished analyst, if that makes sense, from Triest, and a buy rating $14 price target. So finally, analysts are starting to warm up to SoFi and realize that bigger and better things are coming. But there is a video that I wanted to play for you, only like 1 minute of it, but it's on how people are optimistic on banks going into 2024. And so this analyst, so Oppenheimer, says that they're optimistic on Bank of America, Citi, Goldman Sachs. And so in comparison, so a lot of that is just the brick and mortar banks, but SoFi has a better multiple than all these banks, has also more growth in the past and as well forecasted for the foreseeable future. So if someone is optimistic on a lot of these banks that are listed, then they should be like 2, 3, 4x more optimistic, if that makes sense, on SoFi. So I just want to play one quick minute of this, and so yeah, let me know your thoughts.
Oppenheimer says they're bullish on the banks, even with the rally that we've seen since the October 27th lows. Bank of America, Citi, Goldman, Jefferies, Morgan Stanley, and U.S. Bank.
Yeah, so I own Bank of America and Morgan Stanley. Bank of America's flat on the year, even with the rally, and it trades about 1 times book. I think, and they actually just reiterated about 2 weeks ago their net interest income for the quarter and expenses for the quarter, and they were basically right in line. So now you're waiting for fees and what they can do with fees, and I think it's going to be mixed. But I do think that they can continue to cut costs while we wait for fees to actually rise, and so I think you have operating leverage there. American Express actually also is a big position for me too, Scott, and they actually released November data. Loan growth of loan balance is up 15%, delinquencies only up 50 basis points, net charge-offs actually down.
On a side note, it's kind of funny to hear a analyst optimistic about 15% growth, whereas SoFi comes in at like 40%, 50%. It's like, how can you even compare the two? So once again, I feel like analysts do need to warm up a little bit more to SoFi. Some have done kind of more warming up than others, but I feel like there's still a lot more to grow.
Down 70 basis points. So these are really good numbers, and that stock trades at 16 times forward. So I like that one as well.
Jimmy Festive's been telling everybody he knows to buy Citi. Right?
I have.
You're making the case. You like what Jane Fraser's doing.
I really do. I've actually liked what she's been doing all along. I mean, she's been in the driver's seat for 2.5 years, but the market for the first year and a half really didn't give her any credit whatsoever. Maybe that's because they didn't focus too much on the international operations, which she spent the first 18 months rationalizing. Now she's going hard at the domestic business, hard. She's cutting expenses. She's cutting unprofitable businesses like the municipal bond underwriting and distressed debt trading business. I like what we're seeing here. We're getting a lean, mean fighting machine out of Citigroup, and frankly, the analyst community is starting to take note. So I like what I see here.
Joe?
So yeah, ultimately, I kind of found it funny how he said that they like what the CEO of Citi is doing, whereas I can guarantee none of those CEOs have put anywhere close to what Anthony Noto has actually bought within SoFi. So once again, it's kind of just crappy viewpoint on just a lot of the brick and mortar banks, whereas the fintech is going to be the future. So I want to go over some of the data points, starting off with shorts. So I'll break it down on what they are doing. So right now, shorts are increasing 265,000 shares, 15.5 or 15.15% of the free float is being shorted. 135.49 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average is 0.9%, so that's still relatively low. And through Interactive Broker, short availability does indicate that there is more than 10 million shares available to be shorted. So as I've said in the past, I don't see SoFi being a squeeze play whatsoever, but I feel like there's going to be some pain coming in the foreseeable future for shorts. They'll just slowly leave, not a squeeze component or whatever else, but still, regardless, 15% is rather high. Going over options, so there's about 6 minutes left in the trading day, 5.59 million in calls being purchased versus 1.1 million in puts. Sentiment wise, 46% bullish. Of the call options that is being purchased today, it is anticipated for it to be above $10 by the end of next week. So clearly people are anticipating a continuation of what's been happening over the greater part of 2 weeks. And looking at puts, it is anticipated for it to be sub $9. So that'll make a little bit more sense in a second once I go over the technicals. So with it at $9.70, it is between this P and this R1. I've been saying time and time again that 977 is going to be a very strong pivot for SoFi. When it did fail to get above $10 numerous times, I said that it is going to pull back down to 977. And if that does not hold, then it's going to break that. Literally to a T, this is what has happened. So once again, I feel like this is a very good time to accumulate SoFi, especially going into next year. And this is why I did sell some puts at 950 when it was at, was it 940? Because I did realize that over the next couple of days, there was going to be a continuation and a push higher. And that is exactly what happened. I don't feel right now there's going to be enough to get above this resistance point of S or the R1, so 977. So going into next week, it is going to be trading between the P and the R1. So $9 is going to be the next strong support. Then 977 is going to be that next thing to watch for. Number of retail investors have been getting out, and stochastic, you do see it at 82. So it kind of is considered overbought, especially going into next week. So this is where you will see maybe more consolidation to potentially the $9 mark, so that R1. But you do also see a bear sentiment starting to form, so red line above the black. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Give yourself a shout out. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with SoFi? As well, have you been doing options? And if so, what was your strike prices? I've been starting to go pretty heavy on SoFi options, both selling calls and selling puts. And so that way I get some premiums. If not, it's kind of a win-win for that. So both my options do appear that they did expire worthless. So that's kind of a good thing. So even more money for me. So I did do that, or sell puts at 950. And then I did sell some covered calls at 1050. So I kind of felt like it was going to trade within that range, and turns out to be very true. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And depending on when you are watching this, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever else you celebrate. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, I appreciate all of you watching.